Hello and welcome back to math class. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Today we're going to look at lesson 11. We are still dealing with number lines and integers. We're going to talk about something called absolute value, and that's going to kind of lead us into magnitude and distance. Absolute value, if you look at my number line, absolute value is actually very simple. For example, you guys know where to find the integer 4. You also know that the opposite of 4 is negative 4. Absolute value means how far is 4 away from 0? Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. How far is negative 4 from 0? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the absolute value of both of these is 4. It's 4 places away from 0. We're going to put some practice into that. If you go down to example number 1, the absolute value of 10 is written as 10. And if you notice, there's two parallel lines. That way we don't have to spell the word absolute value. This means absolute value. So for example, up here on our top problem when I said 4, what is the absolute value of 4? That's what that says. What's the absolute value of 4? Well, 4 is 4 places away from 0. Well, what's the absolute value of negative 4? Well, the absolute value of negative 4 is 4 as well. It's also 4 places away from 0. Okay, so we're going to practice this. So let's go back down here. It says the absolute value of 10 is written as 10 with our two parallel lines. On the number line, count the number of units from 10 to 0. How many units is 10 from 0? Well, we notice right here, here's 10. And if we go back, we will see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is 10 places away from 0. So the absolute value of 10 is 10. Okay, simple enough. What other number has an absolute value of 10? So if you have to think about it, what other number is 10 places away from the 0? Well, positively, it was positive 10. Kaylin, you are correct. If we would go the opposite direction, 10 places, we would be at negative 10. So we would find out that the absolute value of negative 10 would be 10. So we're going to write it like this. The absolute value of negative 10 is also 10 places away from 0. Why would we say this? Well, we'd say this, and we're going to write here because negative 10 is 10 units away from 0. Negative 10, the absolute value of negative 10 is 10. How do I know that? Because negative 10 is also 10 units away from 0. We have the definition of absolute value one more time in the bottom box. What is absolute value? The absolute value of a number is the distance between the number and 0. So absolute value is dealing with distance. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and turn over to the next page. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more practice here. We have here the number 6. The number 6. Okay, so if I want to know what is the absolute value of number 6, so the absolute value of 6 is what? All right, so if I go over here and I plot the negative 6, how many places away is negative 6 from 0? It is 6 places away, so the absolute value of negative 6 is positive 6. Well, if negative 6 is 6 places away from 0, what other number would be 6 places away? Pedro, you are correct. If we go to the right, the positive 6 is also 6 places away from 0. So the other number would be 6. Let's go to the next one. Positive 8. What is the absolute value of 8? Most of you are already knowing that the absolute value of 8 all the way back here would be 8 places. What other number would be 8 places? Well, we go to the other side. The other number that would have an absolute value of 8 would be negative 8. Okay, last one on this problem, or this section. Negative 1. What is the absolute value of negative 1? Well, here's negative 1. It's 1 place away. What other number is 1 place away? The opposite direction? positive 1 is also 1 place away. Okay, hopefully you're understanding this. This is a little bit easier than putting numbers in order from least to greatest, especially when they are some interesting positive and negative rational numbers. Let's go down to example number 2. Mrs. Owens received a call from her bank because she had a checkbook balance of negative $45. What was the magnitude of the amount overdrawn? Magnitude. Well, that's a new word for us. Let's look down here and see. It says the magnitude of a quantity is found by taking the absolute value of its numerical part. Absolute value. We know absolute value is written like this. We know that the number we have is negative 45. So if I would ask you on a number line, if this is 0 and negative 45 is way over here, how far away is negative 45 from 0? It is 45 places. So the absolute value of negative 45 is 45. So when it says she received a call from her bank because she had a checkbook balance of negative 45, what was the magnitude of the amount overdrawn? We would not say she overdrew negative 45. We would say the magnitude, we would say she overdrew $45. So we're going to go ahead and write that as a sentence. We're going to write Mrs. Owens overdrew her checking account by $45. The absolute value of negative 45 is positive 45. Once again, if you have to pause, please do so. Let's look at number 4. Maria was sick with the flu, and her weight change as a result of it is represented by negative 4 pounds. How much weight did Maria lose? Well, we know she lost 4 pounds. We would not say that she lost negative 4 pounds. We would say she lost 4 pounds. That would be considered our magnitude. So let's write the absolute value of negative 4 would be, how far is negative 4 away from 0? It's 4. I'm noticing something here. Look at this answer. Positive 4, positive 45, positive 1. It looks like to me every time I'm asked to find absolute value is always going to be positive. Always going to be positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and write our sentence. Maria lost 4 pounds. Don't forget your capital letters and periods. When you are finished, flip over to the next page. All right, this time Jeffrey owes his friend 5. Owes, is that a positive or a negative? Francisco, what do you think? Owes means it's negative. The absolute value of negative 5 is, how far is negative 5 away from 0? You are correct, Francisco. It is 5 places. Absolute value is always positive. So we're going to say Jeffrey has a $5 debt. Okay, number 6. The elevation of Niagara Falls, which is located between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, is 326 feet. How far is this above sea level? The hint word above means my 326 is going to be positive. So I have positive 326. The absolute value of 326, if I think about a number line, how far is 326 away from 0? Well, it's 326 places away from 0. So my answer would be, it is 326 feet above sea level. Okay, let's move on to number 7. How far below 0 is negative 16 degrees Celsius? Make a little picture here. Here's 0. Negative 16. Negatives go down, remember, so negative 16 would be here. How far is negative 16 away from 0? Well, We know that the absolute value of negative 16 is 16 places away from 0. So I'm going to say negative 16 is 16 degrees below 0. Okay, number 8. Frank received a monthly statement for his college savings account. It listed a deposit of $100 as positive $100. It listed a withdrawal of $25 as negative $25. The statement showed an overall ending balance of $835. How much money did Frank add to his account that month? That's our first question. And our second question is, how much did he take out? That's our second question. And our third question is, what is the total amount Frank has saved for college? So we're going to need to answer 3 questions. Well, let's start with the first question. Let's put a little number 1 here, and let's do the first one. Well, if I look back here, the first question is, how much money did Frank add to his account that month? Well, it says here a deposit of $100. So he put in, deposit is positive, so he put in $100. So we're going to write Frank added $100 to his account. Okay, now we're going to make sure we answer all the questions. That's why we number them, to make sure we get them all. Let's look at question number 2. Question number 2 says, well, how much did he take out? Now, when we take out, that's withdrawal. Well, if I look here, it says a withdrawal of $25. So we're going to say that he took out $25. Well, the number is negative. The absolute value of negative 25 would be positive 25, because negative 25 is 25 places away from 0. So we're going to say Frank took out $25. Almost forgot my dollar sign there. There we go. All right, and the last one, problem number 3. What is the total amount Frank has saved for college? Well, if we notice here, the statement showed an overall ending balance of $835. Well, if I would ask you guys to put here $835, oh, and the 50 cents, I forgot, what would the absolute value of that be? Well, the absolute value of that would actually be the same number, and it would remain positive. So my sentence would say the total amount of Frank's account was $835.50. All right, so I put the total amount in Frank's account was $835.50. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to understand absolute value. Absolute value is kind of fun because it's always positive. It is never negative. And absolute value tells me how far a number is away from 0 on the number line. Let's look at number 9. Meg is playing a card game with her friend, Iona. The cards have positive and negative numbers printed on them. Meg claims, the absolute value of the number on my card equals 8. What is the only number on Meg's card? Or what is the, it says the number on Meg's card. Well, so we need to think about it like this. We need to think about the fact that there's some number that is 8 places away from 0. So if I look at a number line, what number is 8 places away from 0? What number? What do you think? Darren, what do you think? Oh, positive 8. Okay, you're right. Positive 8 is 8 places away from 0. What did you say, Marley? You're right, Marley. There is another number that's 8 places. It's actually in the opposite direction. It would be negative 8. So we could also say, or negative 8 has an absolute value of 8. So there are 2 different integers that have the exact same absolute value. We'll have to remember that. Number 10, list a positive and a negative number whose absolute value is greater than 3. Explain how to justify your answer using the number line. All right, so in order to do this, let's look at this. We need to find an absolute value that's greater than 3. So we need to find absolute value that's greater than 3. What number's greater than 3? Oh, there's lots of numbers. Skylar, what number do you think we should pick? 4? Okay, let's pick 4. So what is 4 places away from 0? Oh, positive 4. Okay, so positive 4 is 4 places away from 0. What's the other number? It would be negative 4 is also 4 places away from 0. So the absolute value of negative 4 is also positive 4. Okay, so if you notice, I have positive 4 as my absolute value. 4 is 4 places away from 0. And negative 4 is also 4 places away from 0. So if you notice, I kind of made a quick scribble number line here showing you here's 0. I showed you that this is 1, 2, 3, 4 places away from 0. And this number, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is also 4 places away from 0. Okay, all right. Okay, so on the next page, if you notice, I've circled 4 numbers, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And the reason why I've circled those is because I would like for you to attempt to do those on your own for Friday. Let's look at them quickly. It says, number 11, which of the following situations can be represented by the absolute value of 10? Okay, so which ones can be represented by the absolute value of 10? Choose all of them that apply. I'm going to tell you that there are 3 answers you need to pick for that one. Problem number 12 says Julia used absolute value to find the distance between 0 and 6 on a number line. 0 and 6. She then wrote a similar statement to represent the distance between 0 and negative 6. Below is her work. The absolute value of 6 is positive 6, and the absolute value of negative 6 is negative 6. Tell me if she is correct and explain. Number 13. Use absolute value to represent the amount of dollars of a 238.25 profit. Make that absolute value for me. And number 14, Judy lost 15 pounds. Make sure you see the lost. And I'd like for you to use absolute value to represent the number of pounds Judy lost. Okay, so I did not forget that I did ask you to do one problem yesterday. If you guys can turn all the way back to your homework, I asked you to do one problem, and it was on page S39. And you see my answer already. It said this. Jason ordered the numbers negative 70, negative 18, and negative 8 and 5/10 from least to greatest. Write the following statement. This is what he wrote. Negative 18 is less than negative 18 and 5/10, which is less than negative 70. Was this statement true? No. He was incorrect. Negative 70 is actually the smallest number because it is the farthest away from 0. And then you would hit negative 18 and 5/10. Then we would hit negative 18, and then finally we would get to 0. Okay, so I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you all on Friday.